Welcome to Lead with Soft Skills podcast. My name is JP Warren, your host and coach, and this podcast is all about helping you with your soft skills, which contribute to 92% of your career success. We cover things such as communication, networking, and today we're going to be talking about using your words wisely. Words are only 7% in how we communicate. We're in a world where correspondence is king over communication. We're good at text messaging, we're great at emails, but however, how effective are we at communicating though? Communicating is all about connecting. Communicating is all about having the other person being heard. It's all about influence and all about connecting with your audience. So today we're going to dive into a little bit on how to actually use your words wisely, that 7% that we communicate. All right. And I'm going to let you guess, I'm just going to tell you, 55% how we communicate is our body language, how we stand, how we position ourselves, how we walk into a room. 38% is our pitch and tone. And today, we're going to be talking about the measly 7% of how we communicate, which is our words. All right? So here's some tips to help you be more effective at communicating. I've worked with a lot of founders for companies. I work with a lot of different salespeople too, sales teams. And this is one of the biggest challenges and hurdles that a lot of people face. All right? A lot of people come to the table and think, yeah, I know my product. I know what it goes through, so I'm just going to communicate what I think of and what I think that they want to hear. However, a lot of times it's the messages and how we're trying to portray either what our product does or what we do or what our value is. It gets jumbled. It gets lost in jargon. I know a couple software companies as well as a couple other service companies that go out there and they really try to pitch their idea and it ends up being confusing. People want a simple message. If you can communicate, I think it was like Einstein or something like that, that said, if you can communicate what you want, if you know how to communicate your message in a way that like a third grader will understand, then you fully understand it. Don't get lost in the jargon that is in your world, that you're surrounded with 24/7 when your target audience may not be accustomed to those words, okay? So again, here's kind of some quick tips and tricks on how to get your message across more effectively to your target audience. Number one, be concise. Don't waste people's time by over-explaining things. Being concise, I think I read this somewhere where it's like people don't like consuming calories when they're understanding a message. People have to consume calories whenever they're talking, whenever they're trying to, their brains process what information is being fed to them. If you can keep it concise, simple, and clear, and deliver that message, it's gonna be more well received than it would be if it was, again, lost in the jargon of what you're used to. Don't put these creative words, cloud-based computing, digital software transformation, whatever it is. Keep it concise, keep it clear. Speak to your audience, not to your team. All right. The next thing is be direct. This is a skill set. Being direct is a skill set, I feel like. People get in these spiral techniques where they just keep on talking about the product. And actually, they talk people kind of out of using their product, whether you're in sales or whether it's your team that you're trying to influence to go to a common goal. Be direct with what you want. Don't leave anything for them to question. If you want a task to be done for this reason only, be direct with what you're trying to communicate. You're not going to be confusing anyone. You're not going to be having people kind of make assumptions on what you want. You're being direct. You're being straightforward with them. That's what they know what they have to do. And that helps foster, I guess, more a collaborative team dynamic. All right? Another thing that I think is so powerful is using storytelling to get your message across. I know that there's some places where data speaks louder than words, people believe, or if we show the statistic, it's going to get people to understand what our product does or kind of what we're trying to do. However, data and statistics don't convince. They don't win the argument. They don't get your message across. If you can do proper storytelling about your product, about your service, about yourself, that's going to be way more beneficial. So what does that look like? You always hear storytelling and how to tell stories. Well, think about any great story. It has a main character. It's got a problem. It's got challenges. It's got something they have to face, and it has an outcome. It has a hero. A lot of times people tell the stories about their product, making their product sound like the hero when that's actually false. when you're telling a proper story, think about, okay, first off, that you want your customer or you want your target audience to be the hero. You want you or your services or your product to be the way that to make them a hero, okay? So if it's a new software or if it's a new direction you want to take, that new direction, all this stuff, is only going to make them be a hero at their jobs. It's going to make them be more efficient, be more, more respected by their supervisors, and kind of be picked for the role. So using the power of storytelling really does help people kind of get surrounded and engulfed in what you are trying to accomplish. Data and statistics, yeah, that's cool, that's important, see 7%. However, think about this. Whenever you are telling a story, or whenever you are telling data and statistics, that doesn't hold on to people. The result holds on to people. What people face with and what people are getting back from using your service is what is a successful story. So again, utilize the power of storytelling. And we're going to go into this throughout future podcasts. We're actually going to do a whole series on how to actually properly use stories when you're communicating, whether that's to your team or whether it's to a potential customer. So again, use your words wisely. I see a lot of people who again, get lost in the jargon just because they're around it 24/7. You have to understand though, your target audience isn't around it 24/7. So again, simplify it, dumb it down. I know that sounds not being insulting, but dumb it down. Let people understand you. Be direct. And another thing is use silence. I know a lot of times, I think a lot of people, okay, here's a story. A lot of times there is, I'm pitching this again. This is a soft skill. I'm working on this. I'm only going to get better at doing these podcasts as time goes on. But let's talk about the power of silence and the power of listening and actually utilizing your words properly. We had an event one time where a sales person was kind of talking at the table, and which obviously I love hearing other people's insights and perspectives, but you were at a table full of potential customers, a table full of potential customers that were mainly introverts, who again, the salespeople are primarily extroverts. And usually whenever there's dead space in the air, people try to fill it. People try to continue talking or talk over someone else or just kind of get their point across. And I remember during this one dinner, this person kept talking, and it got to the point where it would shut people down. People wouldn't chime in. And after that, it was kind of a growth moment. I reached out to them and I said, hey, listen, how do you think last night went? And their response was very different than the reality from the feedback around that table. Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. I thought it was great. I connected with a lot of people. I actually brought up a lot of good points, yada, yada. Okay, well, how many meetings do you think you're going to get from that event? And it was silent. And I said, okay, well, here's a growth moment for you. Well, I gave feedback on kind of, hey, when you approach these situations, when you are at the table, as a salesperson, no one likes being sold to. So stop pitching. No one likes being sold to. Be there to gather information. And how is that done? That's through asking questions and listening. So we got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I said, listen, I challenge you at the next event we go to, ask questions, sit, gather information, and listen. Well, sure enough, the next event came, and they sat, they listened, they asked engaging questions, they got some great feedback, and next thing you know, they landed about 4 meetings after that one event just through listening, just through utilizing silence, just by asking questions and being engaged and being curious what the other person had to say. Again, words sometimes can hurt. Not in a way that is insulting, but if you overtalk people, if you over-describe things, and if you're not direct and you're using too much jargon around something, you're just going to lose your audience to the point where they're not going to want to engage with you. So utilize silence, try to build your story, try to tell your story on what's the benefit, on what's the outcome, how are they going to be heroes if this process is followed or if this service is used. Again, being direct, I think that's a challenge a lot of us have because we don't want to hurt other people. And I get that. We don't want to offend other people. I get that. However, I think there's bigger risk not being direct, not being concise with your team, with your customers, because again, you're going to lose them and they're not going to understand what exactly you have to offer. So again, use your words wisely. Thank you for tuning in. And again, if you think that someone else would benefit from this, please share. I appreciate you chiming in on this new podcast that we have going. And again, it's all about helping you develop your soft skills.